Okay guys, so I want to talk a little bit about stage planning and stage management for 3-gun. I just released the shooting footage from our most recent match, and I released the entire match, the footage of me shooting each stage. And now I want to go through the match stage by stage with diagrams and some dialogue to go over my approach to each course of fire. Stage planning is kind of my biggest challenge moving forward, and so I'm hoping this kind of helps me practice that skill and get better at implementing and executing a good plan. My thought is to continue to release the shooting footage right after the match, and then take the time in between matches to release videos with diagrams and dialogue for each stage. I'll probably only do 1 or 2 stages each video to kind of keep the length down, because the content and obviously my commentary is a little dry, but I think it's worth talking about to try and improve, because it's really a tough thing to work on in between matches to get better at planning and executing each stage as you come to it. So today we're going to break down stage 1 from the match, and hopefully you get something good from it. All right, so let's get started. Here's stage 1, bay 1. Well, this is stage 1, both bays. And when I first look at a stage, I'm asking myself, what requirements has the RO given me? So starting position, starting condition, specifics for what targets to take out from which position. Sometimes they'll have different rules. And then the second question is, what guns do I want to use for each of the targets? Do I want to shoot my pistol in bay 1 at these targets, and then it would not be available in bay 2, or try and figure out which guns I want to shoot where. And then from there, I'm thinking about what are the main targets for me that are going to be a challenge. So in this case, we see the spinner at the back of bay 1. That's the big thing for me. I'm going to dedicate most of my time to that target, and I want to do it in the best way possible so that I don't waste too much time and then not be able to finish the stage. So we'll kind of get into my decision making there. And then what position should I shoot each target? So in this stage, we start in the car. We had to engage the first 2 targets from the car window, but the rest of the stage was pretty open. We could go in kind of whatever order we wanted. So I want to see where are the best angles to shoot each target. What spot can I stand to shoot the most targets in one place? That a lot of times is a big factor. And the flow of moving from the beginning to the end, knowing I have to run to the next bay, and dump a gun before I run to the next bay. So you kind of want to think about the order and the positions of where you're going to shoot from. And then finally bringing that all together into one plan to shoot the whole stage as fast as possible, keeping in mind the requirements that the RO is going to give you for that stage. So here we are, and now we're going to look at just bay 1 of stage 1. And we were given from the RO, we were required to start in the car, and we had to engage the 2 targets out the window from a seated position. And then we had to get out to engage the rest of the targets. Those were the only 2 targets we could shoot from the window, and then we had to get out. But other than that, we didn't have a ton of requirements. We couldn't move forward of the box 2 area because you have to be a certain distance from the steel plates, but we could move around freely from there, and we could shoot from the right side of the car trunk to engage the targets down the right side. So that was our requirements from the RO. And then when I looked at the main things, I had already talked about this. The spinner was the main target I wanted to focus on, but I didn't want to sit there and waste 2 magazines worth of ammo, this being my first time trying to spin a pistol spinner. So I made the decision to, once I got to that target, I would shoot ammo at it until my magazine ran out. And if I had to do a mag change and hadn't flipped the spinner, I would just move on. That was the most ammo and time I was going to dedicate to that. And then I was going to move on so that I had a chance to finish the stage. So that was a decision I made on what I felt was the hardest target in the stage. And then from there, I looked at what targets I was going to have to shoot from which position. And it made sense for me to shoot from box 2, the first 2 targets on the left-hand side, and to leave the far paper target until I moved to box 3 because I had a better angle on the body from there. And also the covered target on the right-hand side, the partially covered target, was an easier shot from box 2 than it was from box 3 because of the angle. More of the body opened up from there. So you'll see here that I shoot the 2 from the window, get out. I shoot the partially covered target on the right from over the car hood once I exit the car. Then I turn to the spinner and empty my magazine on that spinner, and you'll see I fail to flip it. So I reload quickly to shoot the first 2 targets on the left-hand side, and then I move behind the car to the right to box 3, and I finish up the targets, including the far one on the left that's next to the spinner from box 3. And then from there, I'm done with that bay, and I dump my pistol into the trunk of the car, and I run to bay 2. All right, so I've dumped the pistol into the trunk of the car, and I've run around to bay 2. And in bay 2, the rifle, because we had all paper targets on this side, we chose to shoot this side with the rifle. And the rifle is staged at shooting position 2, and our requirements were that we had to shoot from within shooting boxes here. So we had to shoot targets from box 1, box 2, box 3, and then box 4 is the big open area in between the walls. And you can see the hard orange lines, meaning we couldn't shoot from outside that area. So every target had to be engaged from within a shooting box on this bay. So that kind of affected how to shoot this. So when I looked at this, the 2 targets that are inside the box 4, you pretty much had to engage through the window in shooting box 2. And then when I looked at the far right from shooting box 1, you had the up close target, and then everything else was pretty much hidden down the right side. So that was really the only target you could engage from box 1, but you had to engage it from that box because there was no other box that you could hit that target. And then box 3, you can see it has the up close target and then 2 other paper targets down the left-hand side that are available from that box. They were at strange angles, tight angles, but you could hit all 3 pretty easily with a rifle. It's pretty hard to miss paper from that close with a rifle. So most people chose to shoot those 3 targets down the left before moving to box 4 and cleaning up the rest of the targets. So the only target that really caused people problems in their decision making was the second target on the right that's in between the 2 barrels. Most people would shoot all the targets I already talked about, move into box 4, and shoot the 5 targets around the back from the front position of box 4, and then they would come backwards to the right-hand side of box 4 to hit that last target. And that always looked kind of clunky when people were doing it because they were double tracking. And it also is a risk for breaking 180. So anytime you move backwards in a stage, you have to be careful that your gun is pointed downrange. So moving backwards is slow, and you risk breaking 180 if you stop paying attention to where your muzzle's pointed. So I did see while I was watching this stage being ran by the other competitors that target could actually be hit from box 2 through the window. And once I saw somebody do that, then this stage made a whole lot more sense. And so that's something really key is if you have time to watch the other competitors run the stage, always make sure you're watching them run the stage because you're going to pick up things like that and it's going to save you. In this case, I think it saved me at least 2 to 3 seconds when I run through. Okay, so we're coming in from the left-hand side from bay 1, and what I chose to do was to run past the shooting box 2 in the center and just pick up my rifle. I didn't stop there. I just grabbed my rifle, continued to box 1, and took a quick shot on that close target. Then I doubled back to box 2. I hit the target on the left and then on the right, and then was able to hit the partially covered target on the right between the 2 barrels also from that window. So I hit those 3 targets from position 2, and then moved to position 3 where I hit the 3 targets down the left-hand side. I then stepped forward and into box 4 and immediately moved to the top or the front of box 4 and cleared the last 5 targets moving left to right along the back side of the bay. And then that was how I finished up. And so I didn't have to double back to shoot that 1 target on the right. And again, I think that saved a couple of seconds for sure. So that was how I ended up running this stage, and I think that was the best way. Some people picked up their rifle from box 2 and cleared those 2 from the window, and those were usually the ones that missed that target out to the far right, and they were the ones that had to double back. So they all shot the stage a little bit slower, I think, than what they were capable of had they seen that angle through the window to hit that 1 target. But that's the kind of quick breakdown of Bay 2 of Stage 1. And so now I'll roll in the footage and you can see how it looked in real time.
Yes.
Camera on?
Yep.
Shooter ready. Stand by.